The bevel has been leveled. This is not a drill. I'm Chris Johnston. This is the Flatland Sports Podcast.
And now,
what is this?
I know you're gonna dig this. This is the Flatland Sports Podcast.
Where do you come from? Lubbock, Texas?
Lubbock, Texas.
A place called Lubbock.
I wonder if they think I'm so gorgeous back in Lubbock.
What do you care about Lubbock? You're big time now.
I'm just a little homesick, that's all.
Is that what you want, Larry? To spend the night in Lubbock, Texas at a day's end with a $15 voucher from Cinnabon?
Lubbock? No, it's near Lubbock.
What's it like there?
It's flat, real flat. You stand on a coffee can, you can see Colorado.
Happy Wednesday from across the Great Plains of West Texas. This is the Flatland Sports Podcast, free and available worldwide on YouTube and Spotify. Lots to go over today as the Red Raiders return victorious with a 35-11 win over the Houston Cougars. And also in more groundbreaking news, the bevel has officially been leveled as Texas Tech announces a rebrand that will retire the logo that you see behind me and replace it with a flat, the official traditional double T. I'll put the new logos on the screen so that you can see them. A surprising amount of criticism from those outside of Texas Tech, especially who've always praised the throwbacks that Texas Tech has done over the last 10 years. I've heard comparisons to corporate minimalism. I've seen comparisons to the Temple logo, which has to be trolling. There's no other way around it because the two logos look absolutely nothing like each other than the fact that they happen to be based on the letter T. Comparisons to Cracker Barrel, which that's not at all what this is. That's not what this is at all. This is a shout out. This is a throwback. This is going back to the era of Zach Thomas, Gabe Rivera, as well as others, Darvin Ham, Cheryl Swoops, Josh Bard, and many, many more like them that made this university as great as it is. Now, I've been advocating to return to the flat double T, aka the real double T, for the better part of a decade. I couldn't be happier. And the majority of the fan base, minus some younger kids, are happy as well. There's also a very weird age contingent of people who went to school or were of age in the late 90s, right before the beveled logo came in, who still see the old logo for what they saw it in the late 90s, which was dated. But overall, this is a great move for Texas Tech, a great update for the uniform, for the look. Absolutely long time coming. In other news, by the way, one of the biggest SEC shills to ever work for ESPN has been canceled by Disney. Paul Feinbaum's show canceled indefinitely for reasons that are complete BS and I can't support, of course. Announced a potential candidacy for Alabama Senate. Disney, of course, fired him almost immediately. Utter woke nonsense. I guess Disney thought, we won't give you Jimmy Kimmel, so we'll give you Paul Feinbaum. So I'm looking forward to not ever seeing Paul Feinbaum again. This was not the way I wanted to see it. I'm also looking forward to Paul Feinbaum starting a podcast and going on a rant about how corrupt ESPN is and how the SEC is actually a mediocre conference, and he was forced to say all those things on TV. I'm really looking forward to that revelation when it comes later. On today's show, we're going to recap the game. I'll also award position group grades. We'll preview the Kansas Jayhawks, also the good, the bad, and the ugly, and a look around the Big 12. But first, Red Raiders in action. Texas Tech soccer, since the last time I recorded, got a 4-0 win over the Oklahoma State Cowgirls on Thursday. 4 different players scoring goals against OSU. Peyton Parsons, Macy Blackburn, Taylor Zajewski, Millie Elwood getting her first career goal. And then again on Thursday, got a win 2-0 over the number 21 ranked Kansas Jayhawks. Taylor Zajewski getting both goals in the game. 5 clutch saves for Faith Nguyen. Texas Tech moves up to 10-1-1, 4-0-1 in the Big 12, now at the top alone in the Big 12 standings. Up next, they'll get TCU on Friday from Fort Walker, the John Walker Soccer Complex. That match will be at 7 p.m. on ESPN+. Texas Tech football, of course, at Houston, got a win 35-11. the defense allowed absolutely 0 points in the second half. Jacob Rodriguez making a case for National Defensive Player of the Year. Baron Morton had some rust early in the game after the injury and after the bye week. That was expected, but improved as the game progressed. He had 345 yards, 1 touchdown. Jacoby Williams also having a heck of a game with 2 touchdowns. The offense had some issues in the red zone. Early in the game, you had to settle for 3 field goals on your opening 3 possessions. Otherwise, instead of a 9-0 lead, you really could have gone up 21-0 minutes into the game. Ultimately, you get the job done in blowout fashion. And here's a stat for you. The Texas Tech defense has not allowed more than 14 points in a single game all year after game 5. The first team defense has allowed 21 total points all season. On the other side of the ball, Texas Tech has scored 30-plus points each game and has won every single game by a margin of 24 points. Is that good? Tell them I'm not knowledgeable about things. Is that good? That seems good to me. With this win, the Red Raiders are tied for first with BYU in the Big 12 standings, number 9 in the AP rankings, your first top 10 ranking since 2013, your highest since 2008. Texas Tech returns home this Saturday against the Kansas Jayhawks. I will preview that game in a moment. Before we get into that, it's time to hand out the official Flatland Sports weekly position group grades. We'll start with the quarterbacks. You get a B. Baron Morton started slow, but put together a great game ultimately. 28 out of 40, 345 yards, 1 touchdown. Struggled in the red zone early, however, pre-snap penalties I would label as the main cause, and credit the UH defense as well, a top 3 defense in the Big 12 in my opinion. Running backs, you get an A+. Jacoby Williams, that's just the whole comment. Absolute stud. 107 yards, 19 carries, 2 touchdowns. Cam Dickey had a great game as well. 98 yards, 21 carries, 1 touchdown through the air. Instrumental in some key third down conversions. Multiple plays where I watched him drag players 5+ yards after contact. Wide receivers, B+. Caleb Douglas, 7 catches, 114 yards, made some great catches on key drives. Coy Eakin also had a great game, 10 catches, 81 yards. Reggie Virgil had some great catches in key moments. The unit as a whole, 28 catches, 345 yards. The only reason for the B+ as opposed to an A, too many drops, specifically early in the game. The drops, another contributing factor to the team not going up 21-0 in the first minutes of the game. Offensive line, you get a B. You allowed just 2 sacks. Of course, one was a missed block by Jacoby Williams, which is I'm not going to fault the offensive line for. You had your way with the Houston defensive line. The only reason for the B rather than the A, of course, too many pre-snap penalties, especially in the red zone. Penalties that completely killed drives that were going right into the end zone. Got to clean that up if Texas Tech wants any hope of and any aspirations of winning the Big 12 and beyond. Defense, a great defense on a pass-fail scale. Defense passed A++++. Held Houston to 267 total yards, 12 first downs. The Cougars were 1-12 in third down conversions, 2-4 in fourth down, and you allowed just 1 touchdown and 1 field goal throughout the entire game. The touchdown came from the backup quarterback right before halftime, a player that you hadn't seen before, a player that you haven't game prepped for, and even still, Sheil Wood made some adjustments and held the Cougars to 0 points in the second half. This is the best defense in the Big 12, possibly the best in the country, and for Texas Tech, the best since at least the Zach Thomas era, possibly the best ever. And Jacob Rodriguez, 5 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, 2 pass breakups, 1 interception, and 1 Houston player rethinking his life choices after being hurdled. On special teams, you get a B+. Micah Hudson had 2 kick returns for 38 yards. His longest was 24 yards. Coy Eakin taking over the punt return duties this game, had 1 for 30 yards. Kicking, Stone Harrington was 3 for 5. Upton Belafont, 2 for 2. The They played a great game. They played a solid game. Jack Burgess, 2 punts, averaged 43 yards a punt, was fantastic. Biggest issue was just the 2 missed field goals from from Stone Harrington, which totaled for 6 points, of course. But at that time, you would pretty much well put Houston away. I think the disappointment was more that the drives ended in field goals rather than the missed field goals. But can't miss field goals. B+ for special teams. Looking ahead to Saturday, the Kansas Jayhawks roll into town. That game is a 6:30 kickoff. It'll be on Fox. Prime time. It's a homecoming game, a blackout game, which was changed from red to those of you who didn't get the memo. The 100th anniversary homecoming game. Flatland Cavalry will be performing the pregame concert. I think, don't quote me on this, but the drone show should be back for this game. It'll be a sold-out crowd. The crowd will be juiced after getting the old original double T back. And the last time Texas Tech played a home game ranked inside the top 10 was November 29th, 2008 against the Baylor Bears, a game that you won 35-28. Tech was ranked number 7. Now, the last time Texas Tech was actually ranked number 9 was 1976, entering the Astro Bluebonnet Bowl at number 9 after a 11-1 season. That team led by Rodney Allison. You lost 24-27 versus Nebraska in that game. Your last home game where you had a number 9 ranking was in that same year, also a season finale game against Baylor. You won 24-21. This is going to be one of the best atmospheres in Texas Tech history. You know the Jayhawks would love nothing more than to spoil the fun in Lubbock. What do we need to know about Kansas? Jayhawks come in 4-2. They have a loss to Missouri, a loss to Cincinnati. Both teams looking pretty good now, too, especially Cincinnati coming off a win over Iowa State last week. Kansas coming off a 41-10 win against West Virginia was expected to be a dark horse contender for the Big 12, and they might still be. 2 losses aren't bad, especially after the Cincinnati win. Missouri ranked number 20 right now. They haven't really played anyone aside from Kansas, so we'll see how good they really are this week against Alabama. Jayhawks are led by quarterback Jalen Daniels, senior from Lawndale, California. He's got 1,497 yards, 67% pass completion rate, 16 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's a pocket passer. Doesn't move a whole lot unless he has to. He has a really deep arm, though, and he can run the option pretty well as well. Running back LaShawn Williams, another player to watch out for, the senior from Chicago, Illinois, 50 carries this year, 303 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Wide receiver Emmanuel Henderson, senior from Hartford, Alabama, 28 catches, 488 yards, and 4 touchdowns. On the other side of the ball, you've got to worry about Trey Latham, junior from Goulds, Florida, 25 solo tackles, 1.5 sacks, and 1 interception. It's time now to go to the keys of the game. Defensively, as Headley Lamar once said, go do that voodoo that you do so well. Defense has not allowed more than 14 points in a game. Technically just 11 points if you're excluding what the third stringers and fourth stringers did early in the season. The DL needs to win in the trenches and force Jalen Daniels to scramble. He's not a scrambler. He's not comfortable scrambling. Keep everything contained within the edges in case he tries to run. You do that, you're going to hold Kansas the way you've held everyone else. On the offensive side of the ball, make catches. Good Lord. The drops from last week were a problem last week. Make the plays we know this team can make, and they are unstoppable. And, of course, the last key to the game, penalties. Cut out the pre-snap penalties. Last week, you were 8 penalties for 65 yards. Now, this is a home game. There's no need for a silent count. You should be comfortable here. You haven't played at home in almost a month. Penalties killed multiple red zone drives last Saturday. Clean it up. The Red Raiders should get the win. Kansas is an improved team from last season, but the Jayhawks are about to run into an absolute buzzsaw in Lubbock with an all-time great atmosphere and right so far an all-time great team. Texas Tech wins this game 42-10. It's time now to take a look back on last weekend's slate of Big 12 action and see who's rising, who's falling, and who just wants it to end. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll start with the good. Cincinnati, huge win over Iowa State, 38-30, not near as close as the final score indicates. I may have been wrong about Scott Satterfield. We'll see. But this felt like a program shifting kind of game. The bad, Kansas State just having predicted to be one of the top contenders for the Big 12 this year, and instead they are going to struggle to make it to a bowl game. Had a chance to turn things around against Baylor this week. They had set up a 56-yard field goal kick as time expired, which was blocked by the Baylor Bears. Matt Wells play calling strikes again for Kansas State. You hate to see it. And of course, the ugly, this might be the permanent resident of the ugly section, Oklahoma State. I thought maybe the interim head coach could breathe new life. They didn't. They lost to a middle-of-the-road Arizona team, 41-13. It's going to be a long season for Oklahoma State. Looking ahead to this weekend in the Big 12, we'll start with UCF and Cincy. Cincinnati, a 15.5-point favorite coming off of that huge win against Iowa State. They'll be at home. It's an 11 a.m. kickoff on Fox Sports 1. I think Cincinnati is trending upwards. UCF is trending downwards. I'm going to call 30-26 Cincinnati. Up next, Houston at Oklahoma State, a game where Houston has a chance to bounce back after a tough loss. It's also the TNT game of the week. Houston, a 14.5-point favorite over the Cowboys, and I'm going to pick them to cover 28-12 U of H. Iowa State, Colorado, traveling to Boulder after a tough loss against the Cincinnati Bearcats. Iowa State, a 2.5-point favorite. That game is a 2:30 kickoff on ESPN, and I'm going to pick Iowa State 16-10. TCU, Kansas State, that game is 2:30 on Fox. TCU, a 1.5-point favorite against Kansas State. A much smaller spread than I would have expected. Kansas State struggling. The Wildcats have to win this game if they want any chance of salvaging their season, but they're not going to. It's going to be TCU 34, Kansas State 28. BYU at Arizona, a classic whack game from the 70s. That game is 7 p.m. on ESPN2. BYU, a 1.5-point favorite. A lot of really, really close predictions this week. BYU, they're ranked number 18 in the country. I believe that they may be the other team in Arlington with Texas Tech. It'll be BYU or Utah. I don't think Iowa State's going to make it there anymore. And I think they're going to win this game 24-14. Arizona State at Utah. That game 9:15. That is the Big 12 After Dark game. Utah, a 5.5-point favorite. The spread 48.5. And I think Utah is going to pull the upset against an Arizona State team that is still struggling to figure out how to run the ball. Utah 21, Arizona State 20. It'll be an all-time classic that nobody will see because it will end at 2 a.m. Now, one last thing before we get out of here. Something that went kind of under the radar. Texas Tech gets another big-time recruit in the middle of the game last week. Jalen Brewster, the 5-star defensive line from, you guessed it, Cedar Hill, number 1 rated defensive lineman in the country, consensus top 10 recruit overall, made his commitment right before halftime against U of H. Joey McGuire didn't have a rain delay to work with this time, so he had to work quickly. The second 5-star of the 2027 class, now ranked number 1 on all 3 altogether, the class, I mean. He chose Texas Tech over Ohio State and Indiana. He's also the 4th 5-star signed this offseason. Texas Tech absolutely rolling in all aspects of life right now. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for taking the time today. Please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps support the channel, helps support the algorithm. I'll be back live on X at the conclusion of the game. For Flatland Sports, I am Christopher Johnston. Thank you so much for taking the time today, and wreck 'em.